Hi guys, welcome back to MACS Chat. This is episode 3. I'm your host, Josephine. You can call me Jo. And today I'm here with...
I'm Luca.
I'm Angelique.
Do you guys want to give a little bit of an introduction to yourselves?
Sure. I'm a second year psych student. I'm just studying all that stuff. I don't know, just here for a bit of a chat.
Angelique?
I'm a second year journalism student and yeah.
Okay, thanks guys. Yes, as I said, I'm Jo. I'm a second year doing business arts and this is my first episode as one of the new podcast officers, so please give this episode a lot of love. Speaking of which, today, guys, that was such a great segue because
really good, yeah.
Today our topic is sort of about modern love and what we think about situationships and what it means to be casual. So I brought my friends in today. We're going to have a little bit of a chat about it. And then, of course, once you've listened to the episode, feel free to DM the MACS chat, see if you have any of your own opinions, and then we can come back to it in another episode. Okay, so we're just going to get right into it. We're going to start with situationships because I don't a lot of people, if they know me in person, in real life, they know that I hate this word. And I think it's a very, very strange term that has been coined over the last year, I would say, maybe 2 years. So what do you guys think about situationships?
Okay, first of all, who has been in a situationship?
Okay, starting with the important questions. I feel most people have, just based on the fact that its definition is so loose. It can mean a lot of different things, and I think it's sort of become an umbrella term. So,
in my opinion, I feel using the word situationship is avoiding commitment and avoiding confronting a certain label that you have with somebody. So then people just kind of use all of these online terms situationships, talking stage, kind of dilutes the experience of actually just dating somebody.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I think that's obviously it's called a situation, you're in a situation with somebody else, but I think that, yeah, as you said, it's just a very easy way out. It's just, let's not hold ourselves accountable. Or either someone here is losing their self-respect and the other person is just I don't want to commit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a very vague kind of thing because it's kind of covering a lot of bases with one term and you're sort of not committing to anything. And I think it's used a lot to just kind of keep your foot in the door. You know,
sure.
I'm in a situationship, but I haven't spoken to this person for 3 weeks, you know?
Yeah,
so
that's so true. I don't know, and I think also, would you guys agree or disagree that situationships and talking stages are two different things? Yes or no?
I'd say they're different.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit different. Yeah, somewhat.
Yeah. What do you think, Angelique? How would you unpack?
I feel from my experience also seeing things on social media and within my friends and things like that, I feel the evolution of it is talking stage, okay, we're talking, we like each other, but it's nothing that serious right now.
Yeah.
But I feel as you get to know the person more, going on dates, there's a bit of a different air to it. I guess that's when it would become a situation for some people, and then from there the lines just start to blur between, if it's dating, if we're in a relationship, is it just a situation, but that's the thing about it, is that people are avoiding putting a label on what they are. I think maybe people are also more comfortable with just letting it do and run its course, you know what I mean? Going with the flow of it, but at the same time, I feel with situationships as well, it's going into it that, people might want different things, and I feel a lot of the time people are disappointed with where they're at because there's just a lack of communication in that way.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. What do you think, Luca?
I guess kind of similar. I'm in this perspective of you have to go through the talking stage to get to the situationship, right? If we're going to use the online terms, right? The talking stage to me is this idea of I'm trying to feel things out, right? I'm sizing up my defender. I'm trying to figure out, what am I looking at here, right? Is this something I could pursue? Is this like going to end up being nothing? Like, it's very non-committal from both sides, because one side might not even really be aware of it. And then once you go through all that, you hit a point where it's like, okay, maybe we've gone on a couple of dates. Maybe we're starting to talk about being more than whatever we might have been during the talking stage. That's when you hit the situationship. And it's like, okay, now we're in a spot where we're not quite something, but we're not quite nothing, right? And we're sort of trying to figure out whether we're going to hit a dead end or whether we're able to keep going. So it's just kind of a really weird situation because, well, I mean, hence the name, but it's still very non-committal, but you have this air of like, there's almost this constant tension, right? Of like, you never know what the next day is going to look like, right? It's a very, I don't think it's fun for any party in that situation, because it's like no one's having a very good time because you're just trying to get your own way without kind of really taking the other person's input.
Yeah, and I sort of think that in some regard, like, if you were in a talking stage with someone, obviously, if both parties are, like, aware of that, then there is a common interest here. But I do think that, like, you can have a talking stage and it can become a relationship. Like, you don't have to be in a talking stage and then it becomes a situation. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think the situationship itself usually stems, as Angelique said, like, it's a lack of communication. And then also, like, a lack of, like, responsibility. And I guess, like, an awareness of, like, what you mean to this other person and whether or not you can, like, act on it. That kind of vibe.
Yeah, the talking stage is a very fundamental kind of thing, because it's what dictates whether, like, if you have a good communicative talking stage, you're going to go on, hopefully have a relationship, right? But then if your talking stage is, like, it's very immature, you're kind of like, oh, once a week we'll have a quick little chat. That's where you start looking at that kind of non-committal sort of, is this really a relationship, or are we just kind of looking for connection?
Yeah. Okay, well, I guess that also, like, ties in to another very, I guess, online term that has been used very frequently, and just, like, the art of being casual. If you could consider it an art, I don't know. I think that's a controversial thing to say, but what do we think?
I don't think it is ever casual.
Yeah, I was thinking the
Come
exact
on
same
now.
thing.
No, it's not.
I'm gonna put in that clip of that one guy who's, like, in that interview that's like, is it ever casual? And then all the edits, like, stuff, like, I'm gonna clip that in.
Yeah, but I don't know, something else that I was kind of thinking of before was like, okay, with all these terms, okay, we've got like talking stage, situationship, it's all very just like online, like, and I guess it's like a good way of describing what it is, but whatever happened to just like being friends with someone and you just like them?
Yeah,
like
I
to have a
totally
crush on
agree.
them,
I
like
totally agree.
two friends that like each other. I feel like that would be a better
Yeah, no.
way
totally
of
agree.
describing it, right? Because I don't know, like, even what was I gonna say? Sorry, I'm thinking.
No, yeah. No, I know what you're saying. Like, I think it sort of, again, kind of ruined an experience that was very, like it was normal.
Yeah.
And I think by, I guess, localizing, if that's the word you want to use, like, online terms, it sort of, like, puts experiences into a box. And then people are sort of, like, expecting, like, oh, yeah, like, yeah, this is a situationship, and this is, like, my 5th situationship of the year. Like you don't necessarily have to categorize it that way, but I think it's just because it's become so common that, it's sort of like a default response.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, I was going to say before I forgot and lost my train of thought was I think it also has something to do with, like, the intentions, like, going in, and also how you guys met. I feel like, for instance, if it's like two people and they were friends first, but then, like, over time they, you know, like, develop feelings for each other, and then it can be considered like, okay, now we're kind of talking, but it has, like, a different air to it. Whereas I feel like a lot of the time, and especially with, like, more online heavy, like, interest, it's usually like, okay, I'm attracted to this person and their profile, I don't know, on Instagram or on TikTok or something, and then now I'm going to, like, slide into their DMs and, you know, hit them up and now we're talking, you know what I mean? So I feel like it's easier to call it a talking stage when it's only really online, but I feel like because that has, like, bled into actual, like, in-person, like, relationships and friendships, like, it's just, I feel like not even the right term to use
Yeah,
at times.
yeah.
Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah. No, I get that.
Yeah, it's very like, if you look at how things have been set up in this kind of online scope, it's almost like it's become formulaic in a way. Like people think, oh, I have to have a talking stage so I can have a situationship, so I can have this, so I can have that. Like, that's not really how it works. It's everyone goes through that progression differently, right? Some people might go from talking stage to commit a relationship. Some people might go back and forth, back and forth. It's not a one size fits all kind of thing. So I think that's a big like issue with the whole casual thing, is like people think they need to be casual so they can follow this like step by step program. It's not how it works.
Yeah.
Also, like, I kind of hate I just hate situationships, because I'm sorry, if we're going on dates, does that not mean we're dating?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Like, you're seeing someone.
Exactly, you're
Yeah.
seeing someone, you're dating someone, like, that's what dates are for. Like, I guess you could also use the term dating to also describe being
In a
in a
relationship.
committed
Yeah.
relationship,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like, that just call being in a relationship in a relationship.
Yeah, no,
And then
I totally agree.
call going on dates dating. Like, it's not, I think, as heavy as a label as some people feel it is. So they feel like they have to dilute it with another term. But then that kind of, like, takes out, like, the genuine experience of going on dates with people. Because, like, there's nothing wrong with getting to know somebody and saying that you're seeing them, right? I think in an online space, it just holds a lot more meaning and maybe commitment than people would like, but in reality, I don't think it does. Because, like, you can go on dates with people, you can go on, like, 2 and then never talk to the person again, and, like, what did you commit to in that time?
Yeah,
Right.
that's true. Yeah, and I think also, like, kind of going back into that sort of, like, topic as well, of being like, okay, well, if I'm seeing someone, it means, like, it also doesn't, I mean, it's a personal preference, but it's, like, you could be seeing someone else too. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I think there's, like, this expectation where it's, like, I either have to see one person all the time, and, like, that's why they're my situationship, or they're, like, oh, I'm gonna see, like, back-to-back people so that I can find my own person. And I think both, I don't think there is, like, a wrong or right way. But I do think that, it comes down to, like, execution. But I agree. Like, I think dating can be a looser term if people, like, are open to that. But usually the case is that they're not.
Yeah.
And I feel like also things like dating apps, the
Yes.
evil sphere of dating apps does not help at
I
all.
totally
not at
agree.
all. No, they're
Like,
horrible.
all in favour that dating apps are just really not all that they think they are.
Yeah, no, they suck. They're
Okay, great.
Has a long-term relationship ever come from a dating app?
I don't
I've
think
only
so.
heard bad things come from this.
Yeah,
I've never
not
heard
anyone
something
I know immediately has ever. And I think that is another thing too, because obviously, like, we are in a very, like, digital era. And I think that, like, the online space is a very critical part of, like, how we live our lives. But to some extent as well, like, sometimes you just gotta meet people organically. Like, it's not a crime to go out into the world, and if you see someone, like, on the street, just be like, I don't know, just say hi, give them a compliment. Like, I don't think scrolling through dozens of profiles is really gonna get you anywhere.
Yeah, no,
No,
exactly.
it's
See,
frivolous.
I feel like it's kind of like a nuanced argument, because there's nothing wrong with wanting a relationship,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
And I feel like it's an easy way to find someone that might be interested in you by going on dating apps. But at the same time, like, I feel like if you were somebody who was satisfied with being single, then you wouldn't really need to be on a dating app in the first place. So it's kind of like, okay, if you can't really be satisfied being single, and, you know, everyone kind of wants to be with someone, you know, like, it's like,
Human
sure.
nature.
It's human
Yeah,
nature.
exactly. But at the same time, like, I think it's kind of common for people to almost, like, just want it because, like, I don't know, they're bored, or they just, like, want someone for very certain occasions. Like, I've seen these things online where it's like, I only want a boyfriend when I have to go to a family function. Because,
Yeah.
like, they just need
Yeah,
something,
that's
like,
so
to
true.
distract them, you know what I mean? So, I don't know, I feel like when people go on dating apps, especially, it's just, oh my god, just lose my train of thought. Always.
No, but I think you've like posed a good question of being like, okay, well, like, why are you on a dating app?
Yeah,
and,
no,
like,
exactly.
If you can't answer that question like to yourself, then it's like it probably isn't like the right solution.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with wanting it, but at the same time, like, yeah, exactly. Why are you on this app? If you can't be your own person and independent and satisfied with yourself being single, and you're like really, you know, online trying to find someone, then maybe you shouldn't be involving other people in that, right? Like, I think before you know that you want it, but at the same time, like, before you go into it, like, do some inner
like, are
work.
you ready?
Exactly.
Like,
are you ready for it?
Which I think also poses the question as well of being like, just because you want one, like, are you ready for one? And then if the answer is no, like 9 times out of 10, if the answer is no and you put that onto someone else, like, it's gonna end badly.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, why are you dragging other people into your mess?
Yeah, you should never like do that to people. And I guess if we go back to the topic of like dating apps, I suppose, if you're thinking about that, like, I think you can sort of think of it as a byproduct, like dating apps, they're sort of a byproduct of this like commodification of romance. Like, it's become this sort of like, it's marketable, you know, it's profitable. Like, it's this kind of thing where it's pushed really heavily to you, and so a lot of people kind of disregard their own personal, you know, problems and their own intent. They just kind of say, well, I don't care if I'm pushing my problems onto this person. I'm just going to go for it because that's what I'm supposed to be doing, right? It's become this very like, I don't want to say societal, I want to get into that, but it's a very like, it's become a product, right? Romance.
It kind
it's
of has,
a product,
though. Yeah,
right?
I agree.
Yeah, that's what a dating app is pretty much. It's a way of selling that product. And so, you know,
yeah, you can get even more girls if you just sign up for Hinge
that's
Premium.
exactly what they sound like, yeah.
$10.99 a month or whatever it is.
Yes, that's why all my mates download Hinge at least once a month just in case. But no, it's all...
You can superstar somebody. Show you're really interested.
That's what gets it. Long gone are the days of giving them flowers. Give them a superstar. That's what'll get it across the line.
How ridiculous. Like, can you imagine, like, explaining this to someone, like, who's never even, like, back
to
in
a
time?
Victorian child.
Child.
Like, they would combust. Like, I don't think they'd be able to handle it,
they
like,
wouldn't.
at all.
Bring back courting.
Real, like, genuinely. Bring back yearning, guys. That's what I've been saying.
Yeah.
And I think also, I guess, like, for me, like, just seeing, like, my friends' experience as well, like, Hinge and, like, Bumble, Tinder, like, whatever you're using, again, nothing wrong with using it if you are, but I do think that it has also sort of become, like, this space where it's like, oh, like, let's just, like, hook up because we matched on Hinge. Not actually, like, yeah, like, let's see each other and let's go on a date and see where it's good. This is just more of a convenience thing, like, you're available, I'm available, let's do something about it.
Yeah, wait, are anecdotes allowed?
Of course.
Okay, no, because what you're describing is something that, like, quite literally happened to me, where it was like, okay, matched with a girl on Hinge. Actually, no. How I met this person was she was a friend of someone I matched with on Hinge.
That's crazy.
Which, that is,
That's a dumb...
now that I'm thinking about it, why did I even get myself, that's what I'm saying. I don't speak to any of them anymore because there's just no way.
Fair enough.
But, so I guess, like, okay, maybe the point that I was going to make, because we didn't really meet on Hinge or anything, but, you know, like, we were interested. The friend that I met on Hinge was the one that introduced, like, us to each other and stuff. And we were like, okay, yeah, like, you know, the other person's pretty cool, like, let's see where it goes kind of thing. We go on a few dates, and I feel like we do kind of talk about, like, a lot of things. Like, we have a lot of, like, things that we're looking for, like, in relationships. Like, you know, I want this person to be, I don't know, emotionally intelligent, career-driven, you know, locked into uni, like, has similar interests. Like, all of those kind of, like, more surface-level things that you look for when you're first getting to know somebody. And, you know, we were going through all of these different things, going on dates, getting to know each other, like, everything's fine and dandy. And I was going into it kind of wanting something a bit more long-term. Not necessarily, like, with her, but it was more like, that's just something that I want in general. Like, I'm not really someone that wants to just, like, hook up with somebody, only see them for a short amount of time. Like, I don't know, like, go into it wanting something, like, fulfilling and sustaining, you know what I mean? But, like, what kind of confused me as well was like, you know, when I kind of like brought this up, she was just kind of like, oh, like I was kind of looking for something more like casual, something like, you know, like we just kind of hook up. But I'm just like, why did you take all of that time to like get to know me? And like, all of, like we were going through all of the steps. Like, why were we doing all of that when we wanted different things in the beginning? Like, sure, we could have communicated it sooner, but at the same time, like, it really wasn't that long of a period of time that we were going on these dates anyway. So like, I don't know, like miscommunication for like what we both wanted, but at the same time, like, why are we going through all of these processes if you just want something casual and hookups and things like that?
Yeah, and I think as well, like, especially for the person who usually like doesn't want to commit, the other person who's like, oh, like, yeah, like I'll keep it casual. I think people like that, or even just in general, there's sort of been like, I don't want to say it's like a stereotype now, but there's also some kind of like, I guess, pressure as in being the person to be like, actually, like, no, like I don't like want the same thing as you. Like people feel, I guess, maybe the need to be like, oh well, no, like I'll just go along for it now because I don't want like any discourse between us. Like it's easier to just go like the easy way out, but then as a result, like that kind of just makes things worse.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like even in my situation, like I feel like I was pretty vocal about, you know, wanting something more long term. Like even I think in the way that we're getting to know each other, like I don't know, so it's just kind of like difficult. Like, did she just pretend like, you know, she's ignoring all of the signs that I actually want something long term and just like hoping that I'll change my mind or something? Like, I don't
Which
know.
is pretty crazy because I feel like that in itself is like, it's very like I've noticed like from other people's experiences and even maybe like some of my own, but it's like if someone doesn't want to commit, they sort of like force that agenda like onto you.
Yeah, literally.
They're so dead set of being like, well, like if I can't commit, you can't either.
Yeah, it's like, well, why should I do that? Just because that's what you want, right?
Yeah,
if you don't want to
exactly.
commit, why can't I go commit, right? Like, why is the onus on me there? You know, this is what you want. I understand. Maybe I can't change your mind, but I can go commit to something, you know? Like, it's not, like, the be-all and end-all, right?
Yeah.
And I've known people that have, like, you know, they've gone and met someone on a dating app, and they've gone and, like, it's this 8-month back and forth of, like, oh, he doesn't want to commit. Oh, they do want to commit. Oh, never mind, they don't want to commit. And it's, like, it's that thing again of, like, well, just because you don't want this doesn't mean either A, I don't want this, or B, I can't go and find something else.
And I just think, like, things like that are just, like, they're never going to be sustainable.
No.
They're never going to be worth your while. And I think, like, if you meet someone and you're interested in, like, obviously say that. But I don't think, like, the idea of being like, oh, I've been in a talking stage for, like, 6 months. And, like, they're kind of, like, proud of that. I'm like, like, stand
That
up.
is
Like,
not-
it's
stand
not a
up.
good-
proud of.
It's really
What the heck?
Like, I think at that point we're just going to put the fries in the bag and we're going to walk out. Like, I think...
No.
I don't know, and also
if you can't commit to somebody for 6 months of seeing
fucked
them,
up. Like, that's fucked
that
up.
is
You have
insane.
you have to pick it, like, not even after 6, after, like, 2.
yeah,
Right?
2 is like I'm already like,
Like,
okay, like make up your
If
mind.
it's been that long, no,
That's like,
you're just,
guys, 6 months is half a year.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah,
that's
that's
the
crazy.
thing. Like, people want you, like, but they don't want, like, this, like,
Us.
like, label
Yeah.
of
They
commitment,
want-
right? Like, I feel like, like, saying that, okay, like, like, this is casual, this is a talking stage, like, people get to, like, have access to, like, the best parts of you because, you know, you're trying to, like, put effort into this person, right? So they get all of the benefits from you. Things like, you know, being able to, like, support them during tough times, be there for them emotionally, shoulder to cry, and also just someone to, you know, genuinely be around. They want, like, all of these things from you without actually, like, doing the work themselves in a way, or even, like, you know, fully committing to the idea of you. They just want to be able to access the best parts of you in that way, and I don't know, it's
Because it's
horrible.
almost, at that point, it's like, it's an attention thing. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't like you, I like what you do for me.
No,
and I
exactly.
also
Yeah, exactly.
I like the way you make me feel, but as a result of that, like, I'm just gonna take advantage of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can provide me something like
Yeah.
that.
Exactly. And I also feel like people just feel unnecessary pressure, like, about commitment overall. Like, sure, like, it's like, a commitment of your time, of your energy, of your emotions, and all of that to like a specific person, but I feel like it's definitely like a case by case thing of like whatever you guys settle on and start off with. Like, you don't have to go into it like dropping everything, committing to this one thing, like literally no. I don't know. I just feel like people feel too much pressure about like just being like committed to something, whereas and then they can just like, you know, get away with calling it something that it's not.
Yeah.
Like a situationship, because they just get to avoid it altogether instead of actually going through the processes with the person as well.
And I've also noticed as well, like, in terms of, like, being a friend of, like, as some, like, knowing someone who's in a talking stage, like, at some point, like, I think to be a good friend is to be like, hey, like, time to wrap it up. Like, for your own good, it's like, you're, like, especially as the person, again, who wants to commit, and, like, they're the one who has, like, the intention of staying. It's like, at some point, you're just gonna burn out. And then I think, like, if you think that's, it's so normal to be like, yeah, like, whatever, like, my best friend's, like, in a talking stage, like, and you, like, let them, I guess, get away with it, I suppose, if that's the right word for it. But it's, like, I think it's almost, like, a responsibility as a friend to be like, hey, like, yeah, I think, like, you should just end it.
Yeah, it gets to a point where you have to say, like, okay, you need to let it go, right? Like, I had a friend where they were off and on with someone for, like, maybe a year, maybe more, right? And it was never more than a talking stage. Like, they would just, you know, do whatever needed to be done, and then for, like, 3 months they wouldn't talk. And there were countless times where this friend was, like, they were in a state, right? Like, I had to calm them down, whatever. Like, it was a whole thing. And every time they said, oh, I'm talking to this person again, it's like, really? Like, you had 4 months of, like, you were doing the correct thing and not talking to them, and then now you're going back, and it's like, well, stop. Like, they clearly aren't, you know, their intent is, they're not in the right place, right? Like, they're not coming from the right spot. So it's like, why do I have to keep telling you to stop doing this? Like, seriously.
And as I said, like, again, it comes back to, like, an attention thing. Because it's like, the only reason you're going back is because you expect this person to provide you with, like, what you had when you were, like, quote unquote, in a situation or in a talking stage. And it's like, I'm only coming back to this person because it's like, well, I know that they're probably going to give me what I want.
Yeah, it's
and
like,
then I don't have to, like, explain myself to this person or to anyone because, like, we've already established, like, this kind of, like, relationship.
yeah, it's like a Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah,
it's like, you
kind
know,
of.
oh, surely this person will be good now, or like it's been that long where it's like, oh, this is just who they are, you know, and you kind of excuse all those things. It's like, we probably shouldn't be excusing that, right? Like, there are some things you can't overlook. So, I don't know. There are some times where it's like you kind of have to draw a line in the sand and be like, no, actually, I can't keep putting up with this, even though the attention is great on both sides. I could be getting this attention in a more healthy way from someone else,
for sure.
right? Like, you know, short-term pain, long-term gain, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think people really just want like the validation of someone being into them as well, which, gang.
That's like a whole other thing to, like, unpack. Yeah. And I think we, like, Angelique sort of touched on this a little bit earlier, but also, like, a lot of, like, online, like, especially, like, on Reels, like, on TikTok, like, it's become so, like, it's supposed to be a joke, but then at some point it's like, it's no longer. Like, when you see, like, a reel and it's like this girl being like, yeah, like, I only want a boyfriend, like, when it's Sunday at, like, 9 p.m. And I only really want a boyfriend, like, so he can carry, like, my shopping. Like, I don't know, like, that just feels so, like, first of all, why are we, like, so dependent on this idea that, like, yes, a man is gonna come and save me. Like, first of all, trash that, first of all.
Yeah.
And then second of all, to be like, can't, like, you do those things, like, on your own? And, like, or, like, if you really want someone else, it's like, I don't know, I don't think, like, love doesn't necessarily come with XYZ conditions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
And I think it's very unrealistic to be like, oh, yeah.
I think people just want, like, companionship, really.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, just, like, invest more in your friendships and you'll feel fulfilled in that way, you know what I mean?
And then it's like, again, like, if you feel, like, fulfilled, like, in all of your friendships, and, like, let's say, like, you have a good relationship, like, with yourself as well. Obviously, like, if you still feel like, yeah, like, I want someone, like, it's not, like, that's really normal. That's, like, so normal.
Yeah.
But then it's like, I find a lot of people who do experience that are usually the people who are, like, they do want to commit. Like, those are the people that are like, yeah, like, I would be in something long term, if not for the fact that, like, all the fish in the sea are, like, they're dead. Or, like, there's, like, pollution. Like, do you know what I mean? The water is tainted.
Yeah.
And if there are good fish, they're, like, somewhere on the other side of the ocean. That kind of vibe. Which I do understand. And I think that can be really hard to navigate. But then again, like you can always like divert your attention to other things.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah, you're better off taking that energy, I suppose, and like putting it into something productive rather than like just wallowing in this kind of like self-pity. It's like, well, rather than sitting there waiting for something, like, I'm not saying go search for it, but I'm saying use that and do something else with your time, better yourself, so that maybe, you know, something good comes of it, right?
Yeah, I do think, like, this is a little bit like, I don't know, the phrase of like, oh, like, the right person will come, like, at the right time, like, you just have to wait. Personally, like, I agree, and I also strongly disagree. First of all, I just hate hearing that, because it's just like, okay, just say,
Just rub it in.
just say you feel bad for me. Yeah, like, just say you feel bad. Like, and then that's, like, one thing. The other thing is, like, I do agree in some extent. Like, obviously, if you force yourself into being like, yeah, like, every single person I talk to, like, they're the one. Like, or, like, the next person might be the one. Like, okay, that's not exactly a good, like, mindset to have. No, totally. But then again, that idea of being like, okay, well, like, why does someone else have to tell me, like, yeah, like, you are XYZ and you are really good, and blah, it's like, 9 times out of 10, like, you know that already. Like, and I think people reinforcing it being like, almost feels like, in my opinion, it feels very like charity case vibes of being like, no, like, you're not a bad person, like, there will be someone who loves you, but it's like, yeah, like, obviously, like, they just haven't come around yet, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, things like that, I'm like, okay, well, I don't think we should be like coining these terms any longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also feel like there's a lot of pressure from like, even like friends, like if your friends are in relationships and you like see what they have and you're like, bruh, get me out of here. But also even like family as well. I feel like as we get older, you know, I don't know, if I'm going to a family function, my grandma's always asking me, do you have a boyfriend yet?
That's actually so real. Oh my goodness.
Guys, leave me alone.
Yeah, I know.
And I think it's funny because, like, again, for like let's say like our parents' generation and even like our grandparents' generation, like obviously like they would have like, hey mom, like you wouldn't understand like my situationship, like message me a real and broke no contact after 3 months. Like those that's like not even a language they would even understand.
That just shouldn't be a language.
No,
in my
I totally
opinion.
agree. Like me saying those words was already quite like hurtful, but I don't know, I think obviously their perspective on like being in a relationship and like, you know, like getting married or like having kids, like that kind of like intention is very different to like our generation of being like, well, like, yeah, like whatever, like I'll just go see like my one night stand. Like, I don't know, that's just like a completely different like train of thought, which I feel like is, again, sort of like a lost art of being like, yeah, like let's court this person, or like, yeah, like I'd be yearning for this girl, this kind of vibe. Do you know, like I don't know, I obviously like media and like being online has definitely shaped a lot of that, but I also like want to pitch to you guys, like, why do you think like we've sort of lost that? Sorry, loaded question.
No, it is. I mean, it kind of goes back to what I said before with like, romance has become a product, right? Like, obviously romance across, you know, forever has changed how it looks, what goes into consisting of romance, of, you know, a relationship. That's all changed from like decade to decade. But particularly now, romance as a concept is marketable, right? Like, people see romance and they say like, oh, this is something I can use to, you know, gain rep, or like companies see it and they can use it to make a quick buck, right? Like, I think a lot of romance has become a very artificial thing, where it's less about getting a connection with one person that is going to matter and last a long time, and more about, you know, looking good for the rest of the public, right?
Like a sort of like transaction over like
exactly
intention.
Yeah, it's transactional, right? Like, romance has become a transaction where like, I'll give you this and you'll give me that, you know? Like, it's still two-sided, but it's two-sided in the wrong way, right? Like, it's not an equivalent exchange, it's just exchanging, right? Like, it's a transaction between two people so that they can gain image or rep or money or whatever it might be, right? So it's a very artificial thing, I think. I don't know if that answers the question or not. It was a loaded question. I have no idea.
Something that I wanted to add as well was, I think like how it's kind of changed from like, for instance, like our parents, grandparents generations to now, I think is like through being online, we have like too much of like readily accessible, readily available
Connection.
like connection, exactly, yeah, to like other people, where it's like I'm not supposed to be seeing this person or like interacting with this person, I think, as much as I should be. You know what I mean? If I didn't have my phone or social media, anything like that, okay, let's say like I'm seeing somebody going on dates, I would only ever really see them in those like environments, you know what I mean?
In this context.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, you know, in just like day-to-day passing, like actually just in person, you know what I mean? But I feel like now, like, yes, you have that, but there's also, okay, like texting them, whether that's like through just regular messages or like on social media. You see their, you know, their posts and their Instagram stories and anything else that they put out to the world. And I feel like that just adds like so much more layers to like the interactions that you have with them. But I just don't think like you should
be that chronically online about a person. Like something else as well is like Snapchat. Because like, why can you see that I took a screenshot? Why can you see?
That's like unreal.
Yeah, right. Like
that's a feature.
that I'm half swiping on the message. Like, just get the hell out of here. Like, I'm sorry. Those kind of like levels of like, I don't even know. Like, would that even be considered a parasocial at that point? Of like, just seeing their like online activity is almost a form of like interacting with them, where it's like, I don't know. Yeah, they would text me if they wanted to. Like, I can clearly see that they're, you know, active on Instagram or something. Like, why aren't they texting me? Like, I feel like, yeah, it just, like, makes you interact with them so much more than what I guess people in, like, older generations would have, because they would only ever see each other in, like, very specific context.
Yeah.
But we just have access to people all the time. So I think it holds people also at, like, different standards as well, because now people are, you know, they don't really want to text back straight away when they get a notification.
Yeah, because they're trying to like be like
exactly.
Like
I've
never understood that. Like, I think obviously there is a difference between like, okay, I'm actually like busy and like I'm working for like 6 hours, I can't respond to you, which I understand, and I think most people would understand that.
Yeah.
But then the actual like act of being like, I'm making a conscious decision to be like, no, I'm gonna put a wall between the two of us, because if I reply back as soon as this person messages me, but they take like 10 hours, like I'm going to look desperate. I'm going to look like I really, really want to talk to them. It's like, well, I don't know. I feel like that's very...
But that's the point.
That's
that's why the message was sent in the first
yeah,
place.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know. Yeah, that's the thing as well. Like, people want to be like nonchalant about it. People want it to be casual. But if you're like purposefully ignoring it, then that kind of defeats the purpose of what you're trying to achieve. Like,
yeah. I don't know. I just think it's such a roundabout way of doing things. And I think, again, like that comes back to like, if you have intention, then like you will see it through.
Exactly.
But yeah, I don't know. I think sort of to answer my own question as well, I think obviously the difference between us and like, you know, earlier generations, of course, is like being online and seeing, I guess, like an instant gratification kind of vibe of being like, if I send a text message, like they're going to respond. But I also think that like people of like our generation, I guess like, I mean, this is every generation, but maybe like if people don't have enough like example in their lives and like they don't have, I guess, like a guide to go off, or like people that like they can look up to and be like, okay, well, this is like what a healthy relationship looks like. Then that sort of like brings into like the mix of being like, okay, well, like if I don't see it, then like it's not a real thing. Or it's like, it's just like a story that people are going to say, or like this only happened to my parents. Like it's not going to happen to me. I don't know. I think that sort of thinking sort of like, I don't know, it's like being like portrayed to a lot of different people. And then as a result, like people collectively start to think like, okay, yeah, like it's like not for us. Like this is like a thing of the past, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of like, if you want to look at it almost like psychologically in a way, it's that idea of like we need these models, I guess, to learn off. And so in this case, it's like the relationships of our parents or people in that generation, right? Or even the people in our generation, right? We look at how they act and it's like, oh, that's what I have to be doing. And so when we don't get that, or like kind of what you said with our parents, right? Like they had their way of doing things, and in today's day and age, it's kind of difficult to do that. And so when we don't get that, we're stuck in this thing of like, oh my God, I'm not doing this right. Like, how do I fix this? You know, like, why is what I'm doing not correct, right? And obviously there is no correct way to do it. But because of how everything is perceived today, that's what it becomes. It becomes this idea of there's a correct way to do it and there's an incorrect way to do it. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Like, why do we have to learn what romance is from someone else, right? Shouldn't we be able to make our own idea of what it is?
Yeah. And I think, like, interestingly enough, despite there being so much, like, I guess, again, situationships and talking stages and whatever, I do think that, like, in terms of, like a film or, like, even, like, novels and stuff, like, obviously the market is going to, and, like, the demographic has to be, like, adhered to. Like, they're going to try and promote it to a certain type of audience. And if the audience is, again, people like our generation, where they have, like, a very different perception of, like, what love is and, like, what it entails, I don't know, then things like the media will also, like, shape around that. And then because you're receiving things that are like, oh, like, yes, this actually validates, like, what this experience is, then, of course, people are going to think, like, it's normal. And then people are going to be like, oh, like, you know, like, I, like, watch the classics. Like,
situationship propaganda.
yeah, literally. Like, imagine, I don't know, like, what's a good example? I'll just give, like, a very, like, broad example. For example, the movie, like, Notting Hill, Julia Roberts and, like, Hugh Grant. And in case anyone hasn't seen, I won't give any spoilers, but essentially it's about, like, this really famous actress, and she just meets, like, a normal guy. Like, he's just a normal guy living his life, and they just, like, happen to, like, meet. And I think a lot of people now, like, online, they'll really, like, romanticize, like, this film, like, and just like romance films in general, and will be like, oh my gosh, like, wow, like, I really want something like that. And it's like, well, you can. Like, the truth is, like, you can, but it's just, I think there's so many other things, like, obviously, like, Reels and, like, TikToks, they occupy more of people's times than an actual movie does.
True.
9 times out of 10, sometimes I'll, like, go see a movie and, like, I will see other people, like, on their phones mid-movie, which is, like, insane to me. That's, like, a totally different topic for another time. But I don't know. I think, again, like, those, like, short form, like, videos, they, like, sort of stick in your head, like, a lot quicker. And, like, you witness it a lot more than seeing a movie being like, oh, love is good.
Yeah.
Love is great, you know?
Something that I wanted to add to that as well was that I feel like, especially people in our generation, I feel like they always really, like, put certain movies, like, on a pedestal.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, okay, like 10 Things I Hate About You.
Yes.
Like How
I
to Lose a
agree.
Guy in 10 Days. Like, all of those very specific rom-com movies. Like, as you said before, like, those movies were catering to a very specific, like, demographic of people at the time. So, like, people who were young and dating in the 2000s or, like, even early 90s for some other movies. And I think we put them on such a pedestal because it was for, like, a different demographic, right?
Yeah.
So it's, like, not actually the situation that's, like, currently happening within our society, and it's, like, one that has since passed. Not saying that, like, you know, it doesn't happen, but I think people really have higher expectations for it because it's something that, yeah, is, like, almost foreign to, like, us, you know what I mean? So we really want, like, a nice, like, little high school love story that happens in, like, 10 Things I Hate About You. You know, like, he gets on the stairs and he's singing to her, like, all of this stuff. Like, I'm sure that didn't happen in the 2000s, but at the same time, like, people really love that movie. And I think because it was targeted to a different generation and their audience and how they behave socially, we don't have that right now. Like, what movies are we based on? Like, Euphoria.
Yeah.
That's not a movie, but
Heartbreak High,
TV
like, kind of
shows.
vibe, yeah.
Exactly.
And I think as well, like, sort of adding on to that again, it's like, funnily enough, if there's so many people out there being like, oh, like, I'm going to romanticize this and I want something like a love like this, then it's like, if you think that, like, why don't you, like, put that into practice? Like, funnily enough, for all the people that are being like, yeah, like, let's bring this back. Like, we need to bring, like, this kind of romance back. It's like, well, like, it hasn't happened.
Exactly.
And I don't, like, it shouldn't be some, like, collective movement to be like, let's bring this back. Like, it should have never left. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that also kind of ties into, like, you know, people want, you know, a certain thing to come back. Let's say, like, okay, not being casual and nonchalant about relationships and actually caring. Let's start there. I feel like a lot of people collectively do probably want that, but it comes to also, like, I think a lot of social pressure and, like, comparing your own friendships and relationships with people to others, where it's like, you don't want to go outside of the norm in that way of, like, acting differently about those things because, you know, you're thinking of, like, what is everyone else going to think?
So, yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's so funny that it's like to be perceived like, I guess in a bad way is actually just like behaving like a normal person, of being like, I'm openly expressing that I want to talk to this person, or maybe like I want to initiate like us hanging out in person. Like, I don't know, people will look at that and be like, wow, like you're just like desperate, or like, you know, like just say like you just want to get hitched. Like, I don't know. I think it's very ironic. And I think it's very, again, very strange that like it has come to this. And I think, I don't know. I couldn't even tell you like the first way of being like, let's bring this back. Cause like, how do you even start something like that, you know?
I mean, it's to kind of answer that question, I guess. I know it wasn't a direct question, but it comes back to that thing we were saying before of like, why do we need a movement to bring something back, right? Like, I think this idea of like, oh, I want this thing to happen again, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to wait for other people to do it. It comes back to that idea of being casual, right? Like, I don't want to make a big deal out of my relationships, out of romance. I want it to just be the same as everyone else's, and these other people can make the change. It's that idea of like, I'm not going to commit. I'm just going to sit and let things be as they are, right? So if we want to bring something back, if we want to change if something works, you have to be that catalyst for change, right? Like you're the one that has to make that first step. You know, that's how we bring back courting. Like, just go and go court someone. Go give them roses. Go like sit at their balcony and wait. Like, you know, well, maybe don't do that. It's a bit weird, but
Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo?
I think he'd probably get arrested today. But yeah, go for it. Like, you know, you're never going to please everyone, so why not please yourself? You know? Like,
yeah,
okay,
I agree.
Yeah. Go for it. Like,
not phrased exactly like that, but
pause, but go, make yourself happy. You know what I mean? Okay, chill. Make yourself happy.
Yeah,
you know? Like,
I totally agree.
Yeah, go for it.
And I just think that, like, obviously it's up to us, but then, I don't know, just like from my own experience, I have younger cousins who are still in high school, and they'll say things like, also, if they're listening to this, sorry guys, I'm not going to like dox you, but they'll say things to me like, oh,
I'm going to air your business though.
sorry, not sorry. But yeah, I don't know, like they'll ask me things like, obviously like we're in uni, so we meet a lot of new people all the time. And obviously they're still stuck in a bubble where it's like, these are the people I see every single day. These people I go to school with, these are my teachers, blah, blah, whatever. Like everyone in my sport knows this person, X, Y, Z. And then they'll ask me, they'll be like, oh, like, Joe's like, when am I gonna get huzz? Like, when does it like... Oh, also, sorry, hold on. Before I continue, I hate that word. I actually hate that word so much. Like, I'm like gonna be like...
There's like levels to it too.
Like oh my gosh, like huzz, and like, this is my fine shine. Like,
you can edit the word based on what they look like.
It's such a funny word. You know
like,
it's pretty funny.
It's funny, but then like in the actual context of being like, I want a relationship, like, let's not use that word. Like, if you were trolling, like, go for it. Like, I think it's funny.
It's
but
so great to go up to your mates and just be like, guys, I'm looking for the huzz today.
Yeah, like that's like objectively like funny.
Yeah, but like, don't go talking about actual like people as
and refer them to as huzz.
Exactly. That is weird.
That's kind of like, I don't know, it's a bit like demeaning. But anyway, back to what I was originally saying of being like, they'll be like, yeah, like, when is like gonna happen? And I'm like, first of all, guys, like, it's not happening to me anytime soon. Like, I think like they're looking up to us. Like, well, in my case, they're looking up to me and being like, oh, like, tell us about, like, your experiences. I'm like, well, again, I don't know what exactly I can tell you. Again, like, the dating pool is polluted. And obviously the good parts of the water, like, how do you find that? And I think it's very, and I don't know, I think that sets them up to be like, oh, yes, if there's no hope for you, there's no hope for us. And I feel like, and again, like, that kind of adds to, like, oh, like, this is just, like, it's a cycle that shouldn't be a cycle. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it kind of perpetuates itself, like the negativity.
Yeah.
It's like, well, no, we could actually like be quite content with, you know, what we could go and do, but no one wants to go and do it is the problem. Like, I know we're saying the dating pool is polluted, but it's polluted because of our own like actions, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're the ones polluting it. So obviously that's a whole massive thing. Like, there's a lot of change that needs to happen there. But if we want to not perpetuate that cycle, we have to go and look for the positive stuff. Like, we have to stop trying to please everyone and just say, I'm just going to go and do whatever I think feels right, you know? So, I don't know. Hopefully one day the younger generation won't be jaded, but I think it's kind of a staple of the next generation to have something going on.
Yeah,
they don't like.
I agree. Which is like, I don't know, that's like so sad in my opinion. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that's, I don't know. I feel like sad, like thinking about like, I don't know, like my little cousins, for example, again, being like, oh, like, are we just like gonna be alone? I'm like, no, guys, it's we don't have to get that existential about it. Like, you're not gonna be alone for the rest of your life. I just think that like there's a very strange period of being like, I don't know. Well, being a teenager is already an experience in itself. But I think from the ages of, I don't know, like 14 to like 20 something, like it's a very weird,
It's a transition.
like limbo. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. I don't know, which I find like, obviously they'll figure it out on their own. But I do think like, I don't know, the fact that I can't even offer guidance is so like cooked. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just like, sorry guys,
Oh
like
my
I
gosh.
have nothing to tell you, nothing that will like actually help you in this situation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but kind of relating back to the like polluted dating pool thing. I mean, like, I feel like even for our generation, like, we could probably say, like, yes, the dating pool is polluted. But at the same time, I feel like, yeah, no one ever is really prioritizing, like, being a catalyst for change. I feel like I always hear about even older generations as well kind of reiterate the same thing of, like, it never gets better.
Yeah,
Especially, you know what I mean?
yeah.
If someone, like, goes through a divorce and then they're trying to look for someone again and they're dating again, like, they're still kind of bumping into the same genre of people that they were interacting with like 20 years before that, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a lot of, as well as, sorry, like, I'm trying to say something. Like, for instance, people aren't going to like change themselves because like when they're in a relationship in that way.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because like I feel like people are always kind of like, yeah, like I'm going to be the best version of myself like before I get into the relationship. Okay, now that you're in the relationship, are you going to like continue to improve yourself or
Yeah.
you're just going to like sit happy or content? Like it was kind of like the whole purpose of you improving yourself was to find a partner and not actually
Yeah,
to
I
improve
agree.
yourself.
Yeah.
So now that you're in the relationship, you're not really doing that. So then you get older and you've never actually matured in that way.
Yeah.
So then it just kind of carries through, I guess, like all of these generations of like the same people just kind of having such like low standards for themselves or in that way where like people are still going to have to deal with it. Like we're going to have to deal
Yeah,
with it.
exactly.
Like 30 years into the future, like these bums are still there. Like, what the
No,
heck?
genuinely. And I think funnily enough, despite all that, it's like, I don't know how this came to be, but again, maybe that's just like media and like also like experience. But people have sort of, I guess, like viewed relationships or being like, if I get into a relationship, everything is magically just going to be better. Like my whole life is going to turn around because I've found the one. And I feel like that's just for one, it's very unrealistic. And it's very
Yeah.
naive to think that like
Exactly.
one person can change.
It's
I don't know,
supposed to
the
be like
entire
an
dichotomy of who you
addition.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An addition.
Agree,
Not
agree.
not a part of a whole.
Yeah, another thing too of being like, yeah, like my soulmate is like my other half. Like I've never really understood that because why
Yeah.
are you not like a whole?
Soulmates propaganda.
Agree.
Get that out of here.
Agree.
Oh my gosh.
Or being like, there's only one person for you. Like, come
Yeah.
on, come on
That's
now.
not true.
Like if you applied that logic to like everyone you ever, like you only have one friend. Like that, do you know what I mean? Like you could like you only ever need one friend and one partner.
Yeah.
like-
that's like saying you're only compatible with exactly one
That's
person.
that's such a stretch. I don't
Yeah,
know.
right.
It's just so like uncanny.
I'd say like my take on that is like you can be compatible with like as many people, whatever the math is, infinite amount of people, but they serve you in different ways and you
Agree.
serve them in
Yep.
different ways. You can be the most amazing compatibility and have the most amazing compatibility with someone, but like that will only ever be platonic, right?
Yes. Yes.
But like, would you consider that person your soulmate? Maybe, depending on, I don't know, depending on like how you view it. But I feel like, yeah, soulmate, bruh, the stars are not aligning here.
fate is not on your side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Things like that is like I think it's nice to have them in the sense of being like, yeah, like you can dream about it and be like, haha, like this is a funny.
Destined by
Yeah.
the stars.
Yeah, like it's funny like cope in a way. Like it's, to be honest, like it is just cope. But I do think that yeah, like it's good to have it like I guess to envision, but to act upon is kind of, I don't know, it's a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, do we have any final thoughts or anything else we want to say?
It's not all that bad. I know we said a lot of
Yeah,
negative things.
that's actually
It's
so
manageable. It's manageable.
It's actually okay. out
That's such
there.
a good point.
Like, it's okay.
We're just
you know?
being a little
We're all
dramatic.
just very
Yeah,
negative
we're,
today,
we're just
but
doing it for the sake of the podcast, guys. I
at the end
swear.
of the- yeah, but guys, at the end of the day, as long as you're decent and they're decent and everything's okay, then it's good. You know? Like,
Have boundaries.
have boundaries.
Communicate
Yes.
with that
Yeah.
person.
Yes.
Be
Be
like-
honest about your feelings.
Yeah, be a normal human being. Don't be a freak, and everything's okay.
That's what I'm
well,
saying.
you can be a
Real.
freak, but don't be
Being normal
In
is a
moderation.
lost
Yeah.
art,
It
actually.
actually is, which is such a weird thing to say, but
We've-
it's so true.
We've replaced normality with being nonchalant, and that's a problem. Like, just be
I
normal,
agree.
guys. Just
I
be yourself.
agree. Being yourself is like, it sounds cringe. Like, the thing is, like, it sounds cliche, but like it's not. Like,
No,
the
it's
idea
true.
of it is like, well, like someone is going to be interested in you because of who you are,
Exactly.
not because of your 24-hour reply window. You know?
Yeah. Don't be like. Just don't be cringe.
Okay. I think we will wrap it there.
Final message.
Final-
Don't be cringe.
Final
That's it.
message.
That's like a life motto. Don't be
Final
cringe.
message. Live, laugh, love, guys. I think
Yep.
that's what it all comes back to.
Peace and love.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, thank you to Angelique and Luca for joining me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and let us know if you like this kind of style, or if there's any like topics you want us to debrief. Maybe not with these two individuals. I won't waste their time for another however long this recording is, but I will be sure to touch on a couple other topics that you guys are interested. Yeah. Thanks for listening. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.